Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Peterpodcast. I'm your host, reporter Taylor Clydesdale, and with me today is Emily Warren. Emily is a former Farmers Market customer here in Peterborough, and we're going to be talking today about what her opinion is of the market situation since this new market has sprung up.
No matter what, it's really, really sad that the market has broken up now, and there's no longer that sense of community at the Morrow Park market, of course. But I think, you know what, if those farmers at the downtown market want to make their own community, then all the power to them. We haven't went, but...
And today we're also going to be talking about integrating local food solutions and teaching children how food is grown into early childhood education. So, hope you enjoy the show.
My name's Emily, and I did a podcast with you a couple weeks ago. I run homegrown childcare, and so I'm an early childhood educator, and that's about it.
So how much does teaching children about, where their food is produced come into being an educator?
I think it's really important that children know where their food comes from, and that, we're teaching them about sustainable food sources, local food sources in terms of the environment and supporting our local economy. So here we are working on growing as much of our own food as we can. We visited the Wednesday market actually a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Do you mind if I just move this table forward a little bit, just to make sure that we get good audio? Sorry if that sounds bad to our listeners, but sorry, but continue. So you're integrating, your own food.
That's right.
Growing solutions into your kind of education system.
Yes. The children have their own chickens, which they're loving so much. They just found 2 eggs, which was so exciting.
See, I've heard chickens are really good pets.
Yes, they make lovely pets. They're really nice. Yeah, the kids love them.
What's the cleanup like on them?
They're pretty messy.
They're pretty messy?
Yeah. So our chickens we keep them in a coop with a nice big run, but they don't run around our yard because they just kind of make a mess wherever.
Okay.
And then the cleanup's up to me. So I clean up their shavings and their beds and their nesting boxes, and then the kids kind of they water them and they feed them and collect the eggs, but all the messy work is my job.
So, like any animal, there's a significant amount of upkeep that's required.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So what are the lessons that are taught when you teach children at such a young age? Because how young is your youngest?
12 months.
12 months. When you start teaching someone at these kind of really ripe, impressionable ages, where their food comes from, how it's grown.
Yes.
The processes that are required to create food. What are the lessons that they learn from that? I
think that they learn responsibility. They start understanding what community means because they all have to pitch in. It's not just one person's job. They start learning about how they can be more responsible with our resources, which really is so important because they're our future. And they learn about sustainability, which is a big word for them right now, but really that's what they're doing that. Yeah,
kind of a hard to explain concept, but when you think about it, it's a very simple one.
That's
the idea that you can't just, keep going and going and going and consume all your resources. Exactly. You need to be able to produce as much as you output.
That's right, yeah.
Or produce as much as you consume.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I drove out here and something I noticed was, first of all, just how green this area is.
Yes.
We're, just for frame of reference, we're out by Lily Lake Road.
That's right, yep.
There is some suburban development that's happening right down the road that's going to be upcoming, but there is also, farmers' fields, so...
Absolutely.
I'm sure that, when it comes to the farmers, they appreciate that people are starting to understand and having a better understanding and better appreciation of the work that they put in to be able to
definitely
get the food on people's tables.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, we're working hard, at least here.
Have you talked to any farmers about, your role as an educator versus their role as a food provider?
No, I haven't, but I would definitely be interested in talking to a farmer about it for sure.
Okay. We talked a little while ago about the farmers market. So much has happened since then. Back when we only had one farmers market on the Saturday.
Right. Yes.
So I guess the best way is to, recap, and feel free to pitch in and help me out if there's something that you want to input. But to recap, there was some drama that happened at the Morrow Park Farmers Market. A bunch of vendors were kicked out for, the reasons that were given were for harassment and assault.
Right.
And there were some underlying tensions that were there for a very long time about local food producers and transparency.
Yeah.
Those vendors have gone to make their own market that
Yes.
is now in downtown Peterborough. That's the Peterborough Regional Farmers Market, I believe it's called.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about that. So, where are you in terms of being a customer for farmers markets in the area?
We honestly have not been to either of the markets in quite a long time.
The Saturday markets?
The Saturday markets.
Okay.
We went to the Wednesday market as a field trip a couple days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain why you've chosen not to go to the Saturday markets.
Absolutely. I think that it's a great choice to go. I think that that's a wonderful choice. I think it's really, really unfortunate that we couldn't have found a solution to be together. Part of my program here is, inclusion and diversity, and like I said earlier, community. And I think it's obviously I'm not on the inside, so I have no idea. But it's no matter what, it's really, really sad that the market has broken up now, and there's no longer that sense of community at the Morrow Park market, of course. But I think, you know what, if those farmers at the downtown market want to make their own community, then all the power to them. We haven't went, but...
And you know what? I live in that area, and I've seen that they've had actually some pretty heavy success. They've had lots of high
great.
numbers. They boasted about the fact that, they've had record numbers every single weekend.
Wonderful.
So they've been doing really well for themselves. Now, I haven't heard as much for the Morrow Park market, unfortunately.
Yes.
I haven't gone down to take a look myself, but from people who are customers who have been for a long time, what they have been saying is that it's there's less vendors and there's less customers there as well.
Right.
So that is unfortunate that they've had to deal with that.
Definitely.
Because there's been a lot of innocent people caught in the crossfire.
I think so. I really think so. Hi.
But how do you feel about that? The division between these two markets now?
I think it's really sad. I think it's really, really sad. Obviously, I understand where the division came from. Frustration and wanting local food and wanting local farmers to be welcome at a space where they can sell their food. However, I think it is really sad that there's not that Peterborough Farmers Market that I remember when I was a child anymore.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because there is going to be a generation who grows up with maybe there'll be two farmers markets, maybe there'll only be one.
That's right.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But it'll certainly be interesting to see how that sense of community follows through, because farmers markets are a spot where communities gather. Our now former editor Lois Tuffin, she wrote a few columns about the farmers market drama. And she had mentioned that farmers markets are these spots of kind of community vibrancy.
Yeah.
They're where you meet your neighbors.
That's right. Yeah.
And what's your experience with that? With having farmers markets be these little cultural and communal hubs.
Yeah. Well, like I said in our last podcast, I'd been going to the farmers market since I was in a stroller. And so, I remember it always being a really fun place where you talk to lots of people and everyone's really pleasant and there's a sense of community. But obviously that's not the case now at the old farmers market, at least. But I think that hopefully the new farmers market will cultivate that sense of community and belonging for everyone.
Now, what's the reason why you don't want to attend the new farmers market?
I don't think there's a specific reason. It's not the same. All the power to them, And I think people, myself included, are nervous about change, right? Where are you going to park and what's it going to be like? Is it going to be really busy? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that's just a fear of change, and that's something that people have to hold themselves accountable for.
I was talking to the new markets development manager, and he says he's seen a lot of people who you can tell they're not used to downtown Peterborough.
Yes.
Because they're like, oh, where is there to park? And they park in the parking garage, and they don't really understand it. And I had a couple friends who said you can tell there's new people because they're going backwards in the parking garage, and it's like, oh, okay, whoa. Yeah. So, yeah, I understand that there's some apprehension for trying out that new location.
Yeah.
And especially when, on a Saturday morning. It is a little bit busy in that area.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I definitely have some apprehensions about going downtown, because we have, I would be bringing at least one child with us. And, no judgment to people that go downtown at all, and no judgment to our downtown. It's just, obviously, you can see we exist in the country. Mm-hmm. So it's just different.
Yeah, it's certainly a very different location in terms, the Morrow Park market you could get to from a lot of different directions. Lansdowne's there, but you can get from the 115 to there pretty easily.
Yeah.
Thus bypassing a lot of the Peterborough Lansdowne traffic, and it kind of had that big parking lot right there that you could park right beside it and just walk straight over.
Exactly.
Downtown, it's a little bit more complicated. There is some on-street parking, but it tends to fill up pretty quickly.
Yes.
Parking garages. I'm a parking garage connoisseur.
Oh.
Before I lived downtown, I used to park in parking garages all the time. They were my favorite solution, but I understand there is some walking involved for people with accessibility issues.
Right.
That might be problematic. So I understand where people are coming from.
Definitely.
But at the same time, I think the people who want to attend that market will make the effort.
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to let's talk about what people who want to get involved with their own local food solutions. What do you recommend for people who want to, make local food or buy local food? But maybe they're in the same situation as you where they don't necessarily want to go to the market.
Right. Yes. Well, I think there are farm co-ops that you can become involved with where they deliver, you buy a share of the farm or buy a certain portion, and then they deliver fresh food to you. I've heard of that.
Okay. I didn't know how many of those are there in Peterborough. Or in the Peterborough area,
I've heard of one.
Okay.
But we would have to look into that for sure to get the name of that.
Okay.
You can always start a garden. It's really fun.
Yeah. My parents have themselves a couple of gardens where they grow their own vegetables.
Yeah.
I know it has been a little bit difficult because it's been a little bit dry this season.
Yes. It's very dry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. In terms of local food, I know that there's a new farmers market up at the barn, which we're really close to. Craftworks at the barn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've
heard of that.
There yet, but that's somewhere where it's really close to us.
Okay.
So we might check that out. And I'm not sure how many farms just let you, if they have their own farm store, where you can visit and buy local food there.
That might be something for Peterborough This Week Newsroom to investigate.
Yeah.
Other than that, I do know that community gardens are a thing.
Right.
I've seen a few of them. There's one outside, I don't know, it's near Holy Cross on Lansdowne.
Oh, okay.
I've seen at least one in a neighborhood by downtown that I can't remember the street name of. But, that is also a solution for people who...
That's a great solution.
Yeah. Do you know anybody who takes part in community gardens? Or?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
But that's a great solution.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how far the takeaway is. Even if you live in an apartment building, just getting a couple tomato plants or a couple onion plants and planting them in the window. And I have a little green onion plant sitting in my window, and I haven't had to buy green onions since I bought it.
That's great. That's perfect.
Yeah. Other than that, have you ever done any... I see these farm-to-table tours that happen often.
Yeah, I haven't done one, but it sounds interesting for sure.
Okay. I hear about these things often. They get pretty great reviews.
Yeah.
Do you go to a lot of local restaurants?
We did before we had a baby.
Yeah, children tend to make restaurants a bit more expensive.
A bit more stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah. We go to Charlotte Ann's sometimes.
Okay, where's that?
It is right across from, what's that bank? I can't remember the name of the street. It's near Galaxy.
Oh, okay, Charlotte Ann's. Downtown. If we weren't in the middle of a podcast, I would totally Google it.
Yeah.
But okay, that's a good spot. I know there are a couple of local food solutions. Have you been into Tiny Greens in downtown Peterborough? I've actually been there. The person who runs the place, she's really nice. She won the Space contest a while ago. And
Right. Yes, I heard of that. That's
Yeah.
so neat. Yeah.
So, I mean, she has her own kind of local food operation there as well.
Yes.
So,
And Food Forest. We used to go to Food Forest a lot.
I've heard good things, but I've never been.
No, yeah. We used to go there a lot.
Your professional review, try it?
Yes. Not with a baby, though.
Oh,
Leave
well.
your baby at home.
My sister just had a baby, and she's back home for the month. So
That's great.
It's interesting going to a restaurant with a baby.
Yes.
It's she was we went out last night, so she was pretty cooperative.
Right.
But just to get back to the main topic. So farmers market. Where else can you get that sense of community? Is what I'm wondering, because
Right.
I do see that sense of community from the new Saturday market from
Definitely.
From the I don't know what to call these the new Saturday downtown market.
Yes.
I don't know about the Morrow Park market because I've heard that there's been a decline in people who are attending the market, but that doesn't mean that community spirit still
That's
can't
right.
be there.
Yeah.
But if you are looking for that kind of community spirit that a farmer's market brings, what would you recommend?
That's a good question. Community spirit. Well, I think that Peterborough has lots of food festivals, right? Like the Purple Onion Festival.
Yeah, Purple Onion. Is that in September? I believe it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then there's that, what just happened? Pulse. Peterborough Pulse.
Pulse, is that next weekend?
I'm not sure. Or did it happen already?
No, it didn't happen already, but yeah, Pulse. Yeah, the Pulse is actually really cool. A lot of street vendors and a lot of restaurants
Which is so cool.
Yeah. There's also I don't know if it happened this year, but there was something there's like a vegetarian fest or like a vegan
yes,
fest.
Veg Fest.
Veg Fest, there we go.
Peterborough Veg Fest.
Yeah, did you attend that or?
No, we didn't go last year, no.
Yeah, I heard that that's another example of, places to get local food and find out about farmers. And that's kind of what, in the long run, I don't want to say what it's all about, but connecting farmers and that fresh food to customers is what a lot of people seem to care about.
Yes, definitely.
But maybe you want to talk about, the kind of other ways that people can connect with their farmers and fresh food a little bit better.
That's a good question. Other than the farmers market?
Yeah, I mean, farmers markets too. If there's anything that you want to mention about that.
I think just talking to who you buy your food from, so that you can know where it comes from and the work that goes into it. Just talking to farmers and hearing their story and hearing their passion for their food.
Okay. I think, you know what? I think we're going to wrap it up there.
Okay, perfect.
Is there anything else that you want to add before we sign off?
No.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for talking with me again, Emily.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
And to everybody else, we will see you next week.
All right, thank you.